So if you're making $50,000, don't date. I'm just being for real. You're not ready to date.
But why not?
You're not ready to date because courtship costs.
How much exactly can it cost?
Everything costs. You can go for 22 walks in the park. Eventually, shorty is gonna need a sip of something. She's gonna be thirsty. This bottle of water is $3 in Atlanta. Let's not play. So if you don't have any expendable cash, don't date.
So they're saying that approximately 18% of the United States population shouldn't date. Right.
And whatever that looks like for you, you might only make 50,000, but you live in a shoe, and now you got expendable cash.
I wonder if that includes both men and women. They didn't specify.
Or get you a bottom of the that's gonna date you when you have no money.
Is it just me, or is this sounding like it's only applying to men?
And she doesn't have the expectation, and I'm gonna tell you this right now, enjoy it while it lasts, because eventually you're gonna wanna run. Because she doesn't stretch you, she doesn't make you the man that you need to become. She allows you to be the stagnant dude in the same jeans for days. You know what I'm saying?
I wonder, how much money does a woman actually have to make a year in order to be able to date? Because it's sounding like they're expecting men to pay for absolutely everything, doesn't it? Double standards are wonderful, aren't they?
Dating advice in under 1 minute.
Ah, yes, the best kind.
If you give him money, he's going to cheat.
Interesting.
If you give him emotional support, he's going to cheat.
What?
If you are nice and reassuring and boring, he is going to cheat.
I'm noticing a theme here.
If you bend over backwards and become his mother, always checking in with him if he's eaten, if he slept well, how he's feeling, how work has been, you will also be cheated on. Why?
Yes, do tell us why.
Because men hate reassurance.
Has anyone else noticed that a lot of the women giving dating advice to women about men really don't seem to know anything about them?
Men hate commitment and routine.
Yeah, like I said.
Now here's your secret to keep him happy, not have him cheat on you.
Well, this secret ought to be just fantastic given the rest of the advice.
Is to not give him routine. You need to give this man an element of surprise. And how do you do it? By
Do tell.
not always checking in, by not mothering him, by not controlling his actions, by not always reassuring him.
To be fair, I do not know a lot of individuals that actually like being mothered. However, given this type of dating advice, there's going to be a lot of women, if they choose to listen to it, that are going to be remaining single or extremely unhappy in their relationships.
You want a man to fall in love with you?
Oh, good. I just can't wait to see what kind of emotional and mental games someone's going to be playing today.
Just be emotionally unavailable.
Right. So far, so good.
Don't give him a safe space, okay? Don't give him a safe space. Let them know, actually, this is not a safe space. They'll love it. They'll love you.
It occasionally has crossed my mind that individuals that are giving out this type of advice probably have never actually been in a long-term and healthy relationship. But that's just my opinion.
When women raise their voices, it's because they feel like they're not being heard.
Is that why? I don't necessarily agree with that, but for the sake of argument, let's just assume for a moment that that's the case. But what about men?
When men raise their voices, it's because they feel like they're not being obeyed.
Obeyed? So men can't feel like they want to be heard as well? That they might have to raise their voices, in fact, to be heard by others who are trying to talk over them, like so many individuals are prone to do?
Men don't want to be understood. They don't want you to hear them out. They don't want you to hear what they have to say.
Sentiments like that do tend to come the most often from those who have made it blatantly obvious that they, in fact, do not understand men in the least.
They want you to obey what they tell you to do.
Oh dear. It is most unfortunate that even at this point in time, there are still those individuals out there that think that it's perfectly acceptable to, in fact, generalize an entire group of people. But I might add, it's only, of course, if it's the right demographic, because otherwise that would be considered socially unacceptable.
The real reason that the patriarchy still exists
Is because why?
is because most men will never know the feeling of a critical thought passing in between their ears.
When a person starts out with a rage bait statement such as the one we've just heard, the only thing that it actually accomplishes is that they've immediately discredited themselves, because making statements that are prejudicial in nature against the majority of an entire population really only reveal at the end of the day that that person has bigoted preconceptions and thoughts about an entire population of people, and nothing else that they have to say after that point should be given any weight.
But of course, modern women are not going to hear you. They're going to want a man to approach. They're They're going to want a man to give them all the things that they want. They're going to want to be treated like a passenger princess, even though they're talking crazy about men. Where are all the good men at? Away from you.
Imagine being a woman and not being a feminist.
Just imagine someone thinking that because they happen to be a part of a particular demographic, that they have to subscribe to the same ideas.
Oh my god, that is like a crime.
Ooh, hyperbole.
Like, I cannot deal with that. If you're not a feminist and you're a woman, you're a pick-me. That's my opinion.
Just imagine trying to convince others to think in a different way by calling them names. I'm sure that'll be very effective.
It is absurd. The messages, the ridiculous.
So, one gets a lot of unsolicited DMs. I can't imagine what that must be like.
Good morning, beautiful. I saw your smile and eyes, and I just had to stop and tell you, in case nobody else did, that you're gorgeous, and you fucking spell gorgeous wrong. And then you could say, and God bless, grand rising queen, and if nobody told you today, I believe in you.
After hearing that, I just have to ask, what are some of the cheesiest messages that you guys get in your DMs?
And I know you get a ton of messages, so you don't have to respond. But if you did, it would mean the world to me. And I'm just going to leave you my number in case you're ever desperate enough to agree to a dinner date.
Yeah, some of them do get pretty cheesy. However, it is always nice to see someone taking all of that attention that they're getting with such grace.
The reason you don't get princess treatment is because you look poor.
Or, now hear me out, that person is acting in the exact opposite way that an actual princess should behave.
You look low value and not put together. Leaving the house wearing sneakers, a pair of ripped jeans, an oversized boyfriend t-shirt, no makeup, and throwing your hair up in a bun. The cheaper you look, the cheaper the men are you attract.
On that note, the determining factor on what makes a person cheap is not exactly how they look. It is more determined by how they act.
And the more expensive you look, the more you will attract a provider man who wants to spend money on you.
Oh, absolutely. Because men should be competing to see which one of them gets to pay some woman's bills.
Because the clothes you wear and the way you represent yourself to the world is a way of communicating to men your standard and how you feel and think about yourself.
What a wonderful world it would be if everyone actually stopped and thought about how they represented themselves.
So, in regards to what the other woman was saying, not Lady J, but the other woman, I understand where you're coming from in terms of presenting yourself cheaply, but you need to be worried about more, I should say, when women, modern women, present themselves as being available, single, wearing any old kind of thing, showing everything that they have to offer, and then wondering why all of the wrong men come and approach them. And then when somebody says something about it, all of a sudden they're insecure, right? But then talking about looking cheap, there's plenty of women that go to the grocery store with their hair just wrapped up in a hoodie and some sweatpants, and men are still trying to get their number, right? Because there's a lot of men out there that look just, I'm looking at your face and I can see that even though you have sweats on, you're not dirty, you know how to take care of yourself, and it's just sweats. I love to wear sweats too. That's what they reason in their mind. But a lot of modern women say you have to dress your best. A man is not going to want you unless you're wearing like a little pantsuit or whatever it is, or you're showing your chest. And even then the right men will approach you if you're showing your chest, and they'll not be afraid to date you. You're on the right track, but your direction is in the wrong place.
I don't like 50-50. I don't do coffee dates. I don't care how much money I ever make. I still want my man to pay for everything.
Now that could be taken to mean that one doesn't actually have any interest in having a relationship. One just seems to want an ATM.
He should pick me up. He should drop me off. He should buy me Ubers.
Okay, so what does he get in exchange for all of this?
In exchange, he gets to not embarrass me and breathe my air. I think it's pretty fair. I think we're even Stevens.
So a man gets the honor and privilege of paying for absolutely everything, and he gets the honor of just basking in one's presence. Right.
Otherwise, I don't need a man, just have a man.
Thanks for revealing the true motivation that one actually has for wanting a man. It's not for companionship, it's for financial gain.
This is for me.
I'm sure we're all very shocked to hear that.
For you guys who are mad, though, cry about it.
I think we can safely save the tissues for another day on that one, as I cannot see a large number of men crying over a missed opportunity like that, to be instead of someone's partner, to be someone's walking bank account. So this comment right here, came from this video.
God grant me the ego and the audacity of a middle-aged, meaty, ugly white dude. You seriously assume way too much.
And in that video, there was the following comment. Now, the first part of this comment I find quite intriguing. But to be clear, this has nothing to do at all with who anyone does or does not support. I just found this question to be intriguing, especially since the creator didn't answer it. So I will ask it here, as I asked it in the video as well. Why didn't one answer the question? What exactly was the relevancy of bringing up a person's skin tone, their age, and their attractiveness level? What exactly did that contribute to the conversation? And when I asked this question, this comment here was the response that I got. Now, I understand that gaslighting is a very popular buzzword of late, but just using it without actually knowing seemingly what it means really isn't helping one's point. So I'm going to ask again. What is the relevancy of bringing up the appearance of someone in the course of a conversation?
If a random girl that you find attractive thinks you're creepy, why does that matter?
Seriously.
I know it takes a lot of courage to walk up to an attractive woman and talk to her, get her number, take her on a date, right? Like that's scary for a lot of men. But the thing is, the thing that's scaring you is the rejection or the words that come out of her mouth.
Okay. The way in which one asked that question and then proceeded to answer it in such a simplistic way tells me a couple of things. The first thing being that one actually doesn't have a firm grasp on what men actually have to deal with when they have to approach a woman that they find attractive and try to get her number. Because it's not just about the personal rejection. It's not just about the personal embarrassment. It's the fact that they know that they might be labeled as a creep, or even worse, they could be accused of harassing that woman. Not only that, but one isn't taking into consideration that women often tend to make things into jokes amongst themselves. So he has the possibility of being made into a butt of a joke to look forward to. And isn't that just something that's appealing? But the second thing that it tells me is that one has never actually approached an individual that one finds attractive and tried to get their number. Because if one had, one wouldn't make such light of this situation and just try to make it out to sound like it's oh so easy to do.
I do believe that as a collective, men are bad.
And why are we generalizing men again this time?
Collective is any group of people. 10 people could be a collective.
And any group of people can be a collective? Just 10 random people? Oh, that could be taken so many different ways.
8 or 9 out of them are inherently bad. The collective is bad.
And who can name that logical fallacy?
If 90 out of 100 men are bad to some degree, the collective is bad.
To some degree. Interesting.
Facts are, there are more horrible men than there are good men.
Yet another person is confusing what they consider to be facts with what is actually considered to be feelings.
I think some men who are good men, okay, they don't want to admit to themselves that they are part of a collective of people that are bad.
Ironically, this logic can be applied to all sorts of different groups of people, can't it? I wonder if one thought that through.
Women don't just wake up and decide to hate men.
On that, I choose to remain dubious.
It takes a million tiny bad experiences, or maybe even just one bad experience to say these things. Either way, it's justified.
So it's justified, based on a person's bad experiences, to hate or be prejudiced against an entire demographic of people based on the actions of a few. Really sounds like something else here, doesn't it?
Obviously, not all men are bad, but why do men feel the need to come into the comments and reiterate this point?
One really doesn't get it? I'm shocked. It's because men feel attacked. They feel like they are being disparaged as an entire group of people based on the actions of some. Just imagine how that must feel.
Women are finally able to openly talk about their negative experiences with men. And I don't understand why there's such this urge to reiterate that not all men are bad. You're not going to change our minds. As a man, you will truly never understand what it's like to be a woman, to feel powerless and harassed constantly on a daily basis, in invisible ways and in very obvious ways.
I'm of the firm belief that not a single individual should ever speak on behalf of an entire group of people, especially when they're spouting this type of vitriol towards an entire group of other people. Really. Use logic next time instead of just focusing on one's feelings.
How are you falling in love and falling for at all? Period. Falling for at all. Broke guys.
Well, I guess some haven't taken into consideration that not every woman decides to enter into a relationship strictly based on what is in a guy's bank account.
What is appealing about a man that is in debt and unable to provide for you.
I'm really starting to wonder if some women actually believe that that's the only purpose that men serve.
I need to know this. I need to know the science behind it. I need you to make it make sense for me.
I think that that would actually be a waste of time trying to convince someone that something actually makes sense to another person when they've already made up their mind against it.
Because I'm genuinely so concerned. So concerned for you.
How kind? And what exactly is there to be concerned about?
I'm concerned for your mental health. I'm concerned for your overall well-being. I am just very concerned. And I need you to know that there's nothing okay about that. There's nothing okay about that, okay? I don't give what anybody else says to you. They're lying.
Well, contrary to what some would actually have you believe, it is perfectly acceptable and highly encouraged in many cases to actually get into a relationship with someone based on how they make you feel and how they treat you, not based on what's in their bank account and what they can do for you. So yeah, they're not the ones who are lying here.
Do men come with communication, or do you have to buy that separately?
Oh, goody. What is it about men this time? But at least this one is promising to be something quite interesting, at least.
You have to buy it separately, don't you? Fuck. I knew I forgot something. I could run back out and get it.
Now, what I'm going to say next will come as a complete surprise to a great many, I'm sure. But there are actually quite a large number of men out there that already do come with a complete set. That's right, a complete set of communication skills. No extra purchase need be required. But for some, especially some women, I'm sure that that will come as a difficult concept to grasp. Because being an effective communicator isn't just about knowing what to say and when to say it. It's also about knowing when to listen. And for a lot of the women out there that say that men don't have any communication skills, this will be especially difficult. Because in order to be able to listen effectively, some will really need to learn when to be quiet.
If he's not paying all of your bills, then you are not in any relationship with him.
So if a woman insists on paying her own bills, even if she considers herself to be in a relationship with someone, according to this person, they're not actually in a relationship because he's not their sugar daddy.
Why the hell would you give him a full access to you if he's the only person who benefits from that relationship?
And how does that make sense?
Men benefit just by being seen with you.
Men, did you know that? You benefit just by being seen with a woman.
Just by sharing your energy, your precious feminine energy with him and your beauty, you're giving them extra confidence and ego boost. You're just giving them social and personal promotion for free, just by giving them an access to you. And another thing is that why would you give him husband privileges if he is not even able to cover all of your bills?
Some women actually don't like being dependent on men to pay their bills. They prefer to do it on their own, whether or not they're in a relationship with them or not.
He's the only person that benefits from that, not you.
Oh dear.
Men fall in love by investing in you. And if you don't make them invest in you, then sooner or later, they will stop respecting you.
Let's hear it for transactional relationships, ladies and gentlemen.
It's him paying your bills. It's just bare minimum. It's your non-negotiable. It's 2024 and we need to become a little bit more selfish.
Remember, the moral of this story is, in order to be respected as a woman, you need to get paid. No.
The reason that men mistake your kindness and politeness as flirting
is why. Really, why? I have a feeling, just a feeling, that the reason that they're going to say that men mistake kindness for flirting has something to do with how all men treat women in a certain way. I wonder if I'm right.
is because they themselves would never be kind or polite to someone they weren't attracted to.
It's not even that fun to be right anymore, because it seems like many individuals out there like to demonstrate their ability to try to put an entire group of people into a box and paint them all with the same brush, simply because it's easier to do that than actually think critically and realize that people are individuals. Also, notwithstanding the fact that they're not taking into consideration that many men aren't used to receiving any sort of kindness or consideration unless someone actually wants something or is indeed flirting with them. Or are they taking into consideration the fact that many men out there are very kind and considerate to others without them wanting something? But I understand it's just easier to do it this way.
I mean, at this point, I just wonder where they get their information from. They're just talking to be talking. This is why men don't want to deal with y'all. This is why men walk away.
It's hurt. I don't see men complain when women are essayed on massive
Well, of course not, because one doesn't want to see it. Because if one had to admit the reality of how many men stand up for women, that would seriously disrupt one's narrative.
The type of men that disrespect women for so-called being used.
No, there is nothing wrong with a person, whether it be a man or a woman, desiring to have a partner that has self-respect, respects others, and has not lost track of their body count. There is, however, something quite a bit wrong of accusing someone that you disagree with for having those opinions of preferring children.
I am absolutely convinced that men don't actually want relationships.
Who could really blame them at this point? Think about all the things men have been told in the past few years. They get told they're disgusting if they look at women a certain way, and then they get criticized if they don't. They're not supposed to hold the doors open because women are equal and can open it themselves, but yet they're inconsiderate if they don't hold the door open. They get told that masculinity is toxic, and then women ask where all the good men are. The real question is, if one is finding that men don't want a relationship because of one's own personal experience and the experience of people that one knows, perhaps it has more to do with you.
Basically, if a man wants to be a big man, he needs a big wallet.
Okay, and what else?
If a man wants to be dominant, he needs money.
Okay, go on.
If a man wants to be head of the household, he better be paying for that entire household. Because it's not his leadership skills that are doing it.
Noticing a theme here.
If a man wants you to take care of him, he better have the money to make sure that you have the energy to do so.
So it's just about money, is it? Okay.
If a man wants to be pampered, he better make sure that you don't need to spend your time working so that you can pamper yourself first during the day.
It's really nice to see that money is still the all-motivating factor in relationships, at least for some.
Do you see where I'm going with this?
Oh, I think we can all very clearly see where this is going. But just to reiterate, what's it all about?
The answer will always be that he pays.
I notice with a lot of these takes that some of these individuals seem to have something in common. They don't want to be treated as equals. No, they want to be treated as better than their partner. And they feel, it seems, that the man should just be grateful for having a woman in his life. Well, I think a lot of men out there would be grateful for having an equal partner and not a sponge.
A poll just came out that 45% of men ages 18 through 25 have never approached a woman in person to take her out on a date.
So a poll of less than 10% of the entire American population is now going to be used to try to dismiss the issues that men are facing in today's society.
All this about a male loneliness epidemic and blaming the modern woman for it? No.
Why place any responsibility at all on the women after all, when it's so much easier just to blame the men?
No, the reality is they just won't grow a pair and ask a woman out.
Grow a pair? Oh dear.
They're not even trying. Why?
Oh, let's hear this theory.
Probably because they're on the internet watching porn all day. Oh yes, instead of being proactive and taking initiative to fix their little loneliness issue.
Really? Most men of that age group are likely, if not working all day, they're in college. But go on.
So this talk of, the body counts and it's women's fault and they're scared of feminism, that's why they won't approach the woman. No, all of that's just a cope.
No, that's not a cope. That's some men actually having standards and sticking to them.
Because 55% of men are doing the work and going and asking women out and fixing their loneliness and finding partnership.
55% of men 18 to 25, remember?
The funniest part about this is anytime there's a problem with men, loneliness epidemic, they can't get dates, it's immediately blamed on women. So this whole thing, the talk online has always been, it's women's fault that men can't get dates. No, they're just not even trying. Close the laptop, get out of the house, and go get a date.
Not even trying. Well, who could blame them, actually? After seeing what's popular in regards to how some women speak about and treat men, why would any man willingly want to wander into that dating pool, knowing that there's a very high likelihood that he's going to be blamed for everything and told that he's always wrong just for being a man?
If a man ever tells you that she's just a friend and it's platonic and nothing is happening with that situation, I want you to understand that he is 100% lying to you.
100% lying? Okay, why?
Because men would never be friends with women if they did not get something out of that situation.
Never. Okay. I can't tell everyone how much someone speaking in absolutes absolutely lends credibility to what they're saying.
Men are very transactional. They view women differently. They view women like, what can you do for me?
Wow. Anyone notice that that sounds eerily similar to how some women view men? Maybe they're not so different after all.
They feel good around that woman, right? There's always something that they get out of it for their benefit. It is never to benefit the woman. It's always them getting something out of that situation from that woman.
Well, considering how some women treat the men that they're with, maybe they're getting what they're not getting elsewhere. Emotional support, things that a friend would actually offer.
Men do not view women the same way that we would view like a male friend, okay? Because we have our male friends and we can be friends with them. We don't need to have a crush or anything like that.
I wonder if they realize how hypocritical that sounds, that women can have male friends while they're in a relationship, but it's a red flag if men have female friends. You can't make this stuff up.
Lady J, they do realize that. But this is what men have been saying all along. Modern women want to live by a certain set of rules that they created for themselves and everybody else. If the dog ain't falling in line, the dog gotta go too. It don't matter. As a matter of fact, the dog might have not even done nothing that day. The cat might have not even done nothing that day. But because these modern women, they don't really think about what they say or what they do, the dog might get sent to the pound. The cat might get put down that day. I'm not joking with y'all. These modern women really can, and you're seeing it right now with the way they talk, go off the deep end. Oh, I can have male friends, but you can't have any female friends. I can follow fitness influencers who are men because I'm just looking for motivation. But if it's you following a bunch of women online, doesn't matter if they're your friends, honestly, or fitness influencers, it don't matter. Stop following them. These modern women might go down, they will. They'll go down your follower list or your friends list or whatever you got on social media, and they'll be like, who is that? Get her off. And beat and block the woman. And then you find out on a holiday, your cousin's coming up to you like, bro, what'd you block me for? I didn't block you. What are you talking about? Yeah, you did. Pull out your phone right now. Man, I never blocked you. Yeah. And then you find out your girl did blocked your cousin. Well, I didn't know it was your cousin. And besides, what's she looking like that for? I don't know. I don't care. That's my cousin. I don't look at my cousin like that. Y'all beat had a whole argument because she's insecure.
You ask a man to get your nails and your feet done or to put gas in your car or to get you some lunch. They put it in the same bucket as being used.
Shocking, I know. But it's almost like that's exactly what some women are doing.
Do you really think a woman these days can't get her nails and her feet done or put freaking gas in her car or buy herself a Chick-fil-A #1 meal?
Then why aren't they doing exactly that? What do they even need a man for? Oh, wait, they just kind of admitted that they're using men for what they can get out of them.
Like, and realistically speaking, why would a woman want to date a man that don't have no damn money and can't do nothing for her?
Okay, now hear me out. Maybe some of those women out there are actually just interested in being in a relationship with someone that actually cares about them, and they're not worried about all the stuff that they can potentially get from a man.
And that's the same with men. Why would a man want to date a broke woman that always got her hand out begging?
Do you think they realize what they just said? They actually hit the nail on the head as to why a lot of men are simply just not interested in dating. The funny thing is, well, I guess it's not really that funny, more like sad. There are actually women that think this. They think that they're seeing a good man who's married to someone else.
Why do men have this constant fear of being used for money that they don't even have?
Oh, I don't know. Let's take a moment and think about this, though, okay? It might have something to do with the veritable plethora of posts that are out there made by some women that are, one, indicating how exactly you can get more money out of a guy by acting in a certain way, or that a lot of women won't date a man unless he makes a certain amount of money, or it could also be that there are some women that actually indicate that unless a guy is spoiling them financially, they don't want to be with him. Could it be any of those possibilities? Sure, some guys don't have a lot of money, but a lot of people, especially those that don't have a lot of money, are very protective of the money that they do have. And seeing how many women out there are only after men for what they can get out of them in terms of finances, it does tend to make some men exceptionally more cautious when it comes to dating certain women.
I hate a man who is active on social media, and
Of course they do. Because that makes perfect sense.
I don't mean just like has an account. I mean like who are you posting stories for? Why are you posting multiple stories per day?
Well, heaven forbid a guy has a hobby, and maybe, just maybe, they're posting it for themselves and their friends and their family.
That is for girls and girls only.
Says who? Rather sounds like some of those girls are jealous that some of those guys are doing better on social media than they are. Oh, and I probably should mention, most social media companies are owned by men.
Get off fucking Instagram and go build something.
Ooh, gender role stereotypes. I wonder how they'd like it if guys told her to get off the internet and go cook something.
Like, why am I scrolling on Instagram and I see likes. Get a fucking job.
It rather makes me wonder if someone has so much time to complain about what other people are doing, what exactly do they do for a living?
Like, why are you just on Instagram? Like, oh, that's so icky and embarrassing. Especially when I go through my reels and it's like, liked by. Build something!
I'm just gonna say, this just sounds like jealousy because it seems those guys have actually built something. It's called a social media following.
Most men are rapists.
Most men. What exactly are the numbers that would constitute most men being rapists? I wonder how we're going to try to gaslight people today.
Have you noticed, especially in like women's circles, that most women have been raped? A woman will always know another woman that has been raped.
Unfortunately, many times that is the case. However, making the outstanding claim that most men are rapist requires outstanding evidence.
But men never know a rapist. Do you know why that is?
Oh, tell us.
It's because men don't know what rape even is.
And there it is, that outstanding evidence that I was talking about, because according to some, not a single man out there actually knows what grape is. I wonder if we should ask the men that have been graped themselves.
When men hear grape, they think it has to be a vicious, violent attack.
It's almost like someone who's speaking on the subject of what men think should actually know what they think.
And it's automatically the fault of the woman. She's either not dressed appropriately for that man in question, or she has done something to put herself in that situation to get raped in the first place.
Most rational and reasonable people don't actually think in that antiquated manner, but by all means keep pushing that narrative as a way of trying to justify one's earlier statement.
The fact is, any man that has ever lied to a woman to make her sleep with him is a rapist.
Oh, really?
If you have promised a relationship, if you have promised anything to that woman in order for her to sleep with you, you are a rapist.
Well, if that's true, then that should apply to women as well. Why do some often leave that part out of the conversation? Well, if a person is going to be wrong, they might as well be confidently wrong, because no reasonable man is going to feel threatened or in any way emasculated by the idea and the practice of real feminism, because feminism at its core is about equality, equal rights, and equal treatment for men as well as for women. Now, I do understand that there are some individuals out there that are pushing some rather interesting ideas that women are in some way superior to men and should be treated better than men simply because they are women. But no reasonable person is going to feel threatened by someone with a delusion of grandeur. But in regards to manhood being rooted in the oppression of women, that just tells me that there are a lot of individuals out there that really don't understand what it means for a man to be a man. A real true man who is comfortable in his masculinity does not oppress women. Only weak individuals try to oppress others.
Men, just so there's no confusion, I'm going to show you exactly what a woman's first move is to show you that she's interested, okay?
Well, wonderful. That ought to clear up a lot of confusion. Well, thanks for clearing that up. I can really see that this is only going to lead to more confusion and more misunderstandings, because, quite frankly, a woman can look at a guy that way for a multitude of different reasons, to include being, quite frankly, just annoyed at him. So how is the guy exactly supposed to know if a woman just looks at him that she's interested? Perhaps try a more efficient method. Walking up to the gentleman and actually expressing some sort of interest or saying something
that would actually leave no room for any misunderstanding. That would probably be the best way. But I understand a lot of women don't want to do that because they might actually get rejected. They would rather just look at someone coyly from across the room and imagine that the guy knows exactly what she's thinking.
An incredible man is an average woman. Think about that.
Yes, let's think about that. And what are some examples?
Being clean, having a job, being able to cook for herself, doing laundry, keeping place tidy. Those are all average things a woman can do. And if a man can do that, he's absolutely phenomenal.
Well then, that settles it. Most men are absolutely phenomenal because those tasks don't make anyone exceptional if they can do them. That just means they're a functioning adult. Just imagine using all of those words and not managing to state a single fact.
The reason men tend to think women's tears are a form of manipulation is because that's the only reason they are willing to cry. Now let that sink in.
How very interesting. But what I have noticed about individuals who tend to make these sorts of statements is that they very conveniently leave out the very well-known occurrences of when men actually finally do open up and share their pent-up feelings and emotions, is that they are oftentimes shamed for doing so. And oftentimes it is not by other men, as often as a person would think. No, it is usually done by some very understanding women. And sadly, it's that same group of understanding women that would oftentimes use that outpouring of emotion and misplaced trust and use it against the man in the future. Because oftentimes it is not men that use crying as a form of manipulation. So this actually seems to be more of a case of projection and possibly wishful thinking more than anything else. Because men don't like to share their feelings and emotions. They don't feel safe in doing so. But I do find it odd that there would be someone thinking that men actually do so simply to manipulate others.
They know that's exactly what they're doing. They know that men really don't do that type of stuff. Well, yeah, they know what you're talking about is a Chad and a Tyrone. That's what they're there for. Y'all want to mess around with dudes that come looking, come praying, come prepared. They're going to be the bearers of your downfall. I come bearing bad news for you in your life. That's what they're there for. That's who you're talking about. People who are willing and ready to manipulate you to get in your pants. And the funny thing about it is you have men in your friend zone who will continue to tell you this is what that dude is doing. You'll go over there, get your cheeks clapped, send on back to the house in your slippers and some boxers that same night. Man didn't even have the common decency to give you a cup of coffee. And you come running back down to crying back down to your friend that you put in the friend zone, guy that was trying to do you right, guy that been telling you for 2 or 3 years, this guy is a bum. This guy's not trying to do you right. This guy's not trying to do right by you. He's not now, he hasn't in the past, and he's not in the future. I can tell these things. Oh, you're such a nice guy, Timmy. Yes, I know. That's what I've been trying to tell you this whole time. I'm here for you. I'm not looking for anything in return but you. I would like to have your heart if you'd allow it. But apparently you want to play games. Modern women will keep this cycle of manipulation or getting manipulated, honestly, until they get, used up, and then they're going to try to go back to Timmy. No. You're not talking about all men. You're talking about that Chad and Tyrone that keeps on manipulating you, doing what he wants, and you letting him. So you're not even manipulated. You just letting him. You just give him. He's not even trespassing anymore. You just give him permission to do it. You don't even care.
Yeah, so I just walked into a coffee shop to get a coffee, and I brought my book bag because I thought I was going to sit and do some work.
Obviously, there was some problem that prevented that. Otherwise, someone wouldn't be making this video.
There's like 5 guys in there. It's all dudes, no women.
Oh, how awful. Men in a public space.
And one of them's laughing, the other one's talking really loud, telling a story. The one dude's talking to the barista over the counter. I was like, I'm out.
Of course. But wait until you hear the reason why.
Anytime you guys are having a little too much fun, I'm out. You suck. I don't want to fucking hear your voices, especially if you're talking loud. Fuck you. I actually hate all of you. You're having a good time? I'm out. I'm out.
And who says that misandry doesn't exist in the wild?
Oh yes, gentlemen, there are some women out there that will get so upset about you minding your own business and having a good time in a public space, I might add, that they will have to then go off to their car and make a social media rant all about it. I've been called a lot of things before, but masculine looking really hasn't been one of them. But I often find it's those gentlemen that are most insecure in their own masculinity that would actually accuse a female of having more than they do.
Here is your reminder to ask that man for money.
Why? Do some of these ladies not have their own money? Or perhaps this thing even called a job? I really don't understand how some of these women can have the audacity to call themselves independent, yet still beg other people for money.
The worst he could do is say no.
Well, that's sort of true. But I think the smartest thing that they could do would not only be to distance themselves entirely from someone who just seems to view them as an ATM, but also let all of their friends, family, and other male acquaintances know exactly what type of woman they might be dealing with.
B, they make more than us. They can afford it.
Really? We're going to go with that one, are we? Okay. I'm really beginning to feel sorry for a lot of women that still think this way, because here's a thought. If you and a gentleman have the same profession and the same employer and he makes more money than you by virtue of the fact that he's a guy, you should probably take that to your employer to get that resolved. But I do understand that that would take effort. But even if it is the case that a lot of men have jobs that pay more than some jobs that women choose to take, that's not exactly their fault and not a reason for you to go begging for money.
We have reached a point in our society where the only thing men are good for is breeding.
Beg pardon?
They do not cook, they do not clean, they barely work.
Well, I mean, we could say the same about a lot of women, but some would call that sexist. But as long as it's against men, apparently that's just fine.
And just recently we have all realized, I mean, I knew it from the jump, but now we all have seen that men don't even know how to make friends with their own gender, let alone with the opposite sex.
Who knows what it's called when someone uses their own personal experiences based on a few individuals that they know to then generalize an entire population? Who knows the answer to that?
We as women can pay our own bills, we have our own jobs, we have our own skills, we are highly educated.
Well, based on a lot of things that I see every day, on that last part, for some, I'm going to choose to remain dubious.
The only thing that men can do, for me as a woman at least, is give me a child.
I would like to point out that there have been conversations by men about women on this very same subject, and those are considered to be unacceptable. However, there are those that support this type of dialogue when it's about men. You should really do some self-reflection if you're one of those.
You know, I don't think modern women really actually process what they're putting out there. I don't. You know, males these days are only good for breeding. Why would you say that? Why in the world would you say that? Knowing that y'all be out there, single mothers, 2 and 3 baby daddies, 2 and 3 kids by 2 and 3 baby daddies. That's what y'all be using the men for. That's why men are not marrying you. That's why they're not marrying you. Because you say stuff like this and you think that it makes sense, but it doesn't. They're only good for breeding. That's what you've been doing this whole time. That's what you've been doing this whole time, is breeding with them. Come on, man. They gotta see the trap that they're walking into. They have to. These modern women, man, you can't take them seriously.
Misogynistic women.
Oh, well, that doesn't sound good. But frankly, I have met very few misogynistic women, because that would mean if a woman is a true misogynist, that she would actually have to despise other women. But I wonder if that's exactly what they mean.
That turn on other women.
Turn on other women? Well, if we're being honest, there are some women's opinions and positions that really aren't worth supporting, so I think we're going to need to hear more.
And center men in their lives.
And that could apply to a lot of women as well, especially those that call themselves misandrists. Because if you notice that misandrists do nothing but center men in their conversations.
How's that working out for you? as you betray your own gender. Probably not so good, is it? Sucks to be you.
Betraying your own gender? What a ludicrous idea. And I speak from experience, as I've been accused of that on multiple occasions simply for calling out narratives and ideas that are absolutely illogical and irrational. But here's something to think about. Blindly supporting any group of people simply because they happen to be a group of people is also irrational. A person can support individuals, but supporting a group as a whole rather indicates that that person probably lacks critical thinking and does not know how to think independently on their own.
This is just a PSA that I could never be married to a man that sleeps in.
Why? Would it be such a bad thing if a gentleman actually got some rest?
I could never be married to a man that sleeps in and sleeps in longer than I do. And neither should you.
I always find these sorts of videos rather enlightening because it tells you a lot about the type of person that would say that, because they apparently don't see their partner as a person that deserves to take time for themselves, because instead of sleeping in, as was in the descriptor of that video, they should be up building a shed at 7 a.m. But let me remind a lot of you that agree with this lady's statement that if a man said this, that would be a whole different story, wouldn't it? It wouldn't go over so well. Because if a guy said that a woman should not be sleeping in, that she should be up cleaning the house, making breakfast, or any other number of various tasks, they would be going after him in droves. But as long as a woman says it about a man, well, that's okay. And some even consider it to be funny. Right. Well, that certainly is a bit different from the norm at those sort of establishments, but let's see if I can understand why some of those ladies are upset. So instead of the men being up on stage, having a good time with their friends and shaking it for the approval of the audience, they would rather it be the women up there shaking it for the approval of the audience? How very fair-minded of you.
I'll start taking men's mental health seriously when y'all start taking it seriously that y'all's homeboys rape bitches.
Then I will say this. Since there's a great many of you that share in that sentiment that you will not take men's mental health seriously, let me humbly remind some of you that mentally well men are not the ones committing those atrocious crimes. Those are men with mental problems that need to be addressed. So if you don't care about men's mental health, then you don't care about women's safety.
But if that man made you pay for anything, he literally hates you. Dump his ass.
It's no small wonder that the comments are turned off on that video, but it never ceases to amaze me how some out there can choose to use certain words because they hold a lot of meaning, like the word hate, but yet don't actually seem to have any concept of the idea what those words actually mean. It's almost like they invented dictionaries for a reason. So I highly recommend that a lot of individuals out there that just like to spew words that they've heard on the internet and think that they sound good in a certain context, start using them.
I've come to the conclusion that in order for a man to even enter my life in any capacity, like even as a friend, you will have to genuinely get on your knees and start barking.
This is a joke, right? No person could actually expect another person to engage in a humiliation ritual just to get their attention, right?
If not, I don't want to hear it. I genuinely, and I'm not saying people are like dying to talk to me, like men are not dying to talk to me, but if you are even thinking about it, get on the floor, get on your knees, bark. If you're not going to do that, shut up and get away from me.
Right. Okay. You know, I could make several comments, even a joke or two, about a man barking at a woman to get her attention, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take the high road. But frankly, I can remember when jokes used to be funny and rage bait, well, it used to be at least somewhat believable. But now, this is what we've got.
You know, I don't know. I don't know what needs to be said. I don't know what needs to be said. These modern women, man. These modern women are too freaked out. They're too freaked out. They talk about men being lustful and always walking around looking to knock something down or stick their thing in something. And then they get out here. And then they get out here and say something like this on the internet. These modern women have no shame. You're on the internet saying this. This is going out to thousands of people, hundreds of thousands. Sometimes, depending on how people are feeling, millions of people out there. And you're talking crazy. You're talking absolutely wild out here. And expecting a man to look at that and be like, yep, that's my wife. I love that behavior.
And the patriarchy has won when it tells women that giving it up for free is liberating, but charging for it is bad.
I'm sorry, but was that supposed to make sense? Because I feel that it failed to do so, miserably. But I do understand that it is the new thing to do to blame the patriarchy for absolutely everything in this world, even if it relies not even a little bit on factual information. Because if I recall correctly, it was mostly other women encouraging women to be more liberated, as it were, with their romantic escapades. But not even taking into consideration that most men, as well as most women, prefer their partners not to have a high body count. So explain exactly how that's liberating. But also in regards to charging for it being considered bad, I might add that almost every culture in the world considers selling it to be not a good thing to do, and it's almost like it's illegal for multiple reasons, which I don't think I should have to go into, because charging for it is certainly not liberating. That basically degrades a person to a whole new level. But apparently some women will actually try to say that that is the fault of the patriarchy and will try to argue in any way they can to make it sound empowering.
What's something women don't admit but absolutely all do?
Just wait for it.
Probably hate men.
Well, that's one of the most incorrect assumptions I've ever heard, because contrary to what a lot of you see on social media, most women, in fact, do not hate men. Unfortunately, since misandry has become so normalized by the loud minority, a lot of women are under the false assumption that a lot of other women think the same as them. But that's unfortunately because they hang out and associate only with other women that think in the same way that they do.
Come on, girls. It's okay. If you could pick who you'd be attracted to, all women would be lesbians.
Yeah, no, that's completely inaccurate. Because contrary to what some of these women would like to have you believe, there are quite a few of us women that actually, for multiple reasons, do enjoy the company of men. And I'm sure that I'm going to get called multiple names for saying that, but all I can say to that is whoop-de-doo. If I'm going to get called names for saying things that some individuals don't like, then so be it.
Is it a recession indicator that men keep asking me to go on walks for first dates?
No, because I know this has gotten lost somewhere along the way, but first dates were never about seeing how much money a person can spend on the other person. First dates are about getting to know the other person.
I'm not even talking about like, oh, let's get a coffee and go for a walk. I'm straight up talking about like, let's go for a walk. And that is the first date.
And what's wrong with that? That seems to be a perfectly reasonable way to be able to get to know someone in a very low pressure atmosphere setting so that you can actually tell if there's some possible chemistry or even a future there.
I don't mind going for a walk. I like a walk, but I've never in my life had this many men ask me to go on a walk for a first date. Could this be a recession indicator? Can we not afford coffee or drinks or dinner? I'm just asking.
No, I would say that it's more of an indicator of a lot of men waking up to their own actual worth in regards to their position in the dating game. After all, why spend a lot of money on someone that they might never see again, especially if they don't actually form some kind of connection? A simple, low-cost date is the best way in order to be able to filter out those that are just in it for the money.
I mean, she's calling it a recession indicator, but it might even be a common sense indicator. That's what y'all are not labeling it as. You're labeling it incorrectly. It's a common sense indicator. I want to see if you're actually out here to be friends. Oh, I'm looking for a man to just see me and know me and understand me. I don't want to see you and know you over no expensive steak. I don't want to know you over that. I don't want to see you and know you over these $20 or $30 signs. This $30, $40 drink, I don't want to know you over that because I can't hear you. You're too busy chewing. You're too busy worried about eating. And I'm not upset at you for wanting to go out on a date. I think you should. But y'all have gotten too comfortable sitting up there stuffing your face, not really saying anything, saying a few words, and then going on, oh, I had such a great time. You had a great time because you got out of the house. And you know, as soon as you get in that Uber, you're going to friend zone that man. But you didn't have a great time with him. You had a great experience. You learned a new restaurant in town. And, you know, like one woman said, I'll take my girls here. You know, I don't like him, but I'll take my girls here. He paid for it. And so next time, you know, I know what it's like, so I don't have to spend my own money. Me and my girls can come because I like it. And I'm going to keep on doing that because, you know, I like dating. Dating's fun. So you're basically going to waste people's time. So a man adapts and he says, okay, she says she wants a friend. She says she wants somebody to listen. Let's go on this walk. Let's go out for ice cream. Let's go out for coffee. What better way? With no obstacles. We don't even have to look at each other. We can just walk side by side talking as friends. We can do that for about 30, 45 minutes to an hour, maybe. You ain't got nothing to do, right? I mean, you would have sat at, and if, you know what? And if it doesn't work out, we can go home after about an hour. I'm giving you your time back, right? Because you would have sat at dinner for about 2.5 hours. So I'm actually doing you a favor, except that I'm not, because you actually wanted to get that meal. Y'all not here to be men's friend. A man becoming friendly with you is the cherry on top. But what y'all are trying to do is get something out of it. Essentially what the dinner is a deposit for your time. Them paying for dinner and taking you out somewhere nice is a deposit. So if it doesn't go right, then I didn't like him, but at least I got a good meal out of it. I went to a nice place. I got a great experience out of it. So I didn't feel like my Friday night was wasted, or my Thursday night was, or whenever you go, I didn't feel like it was wasted. But the man can go home. It doesn't matter. If you like him or not, he just spent his money, so he's already out of it. Y'all are, modern women are saying, well, I'm going to start taking deposits from men so they won't waste my time. You're already taking a deposit. Y'all are asking men to buy your groceries, pay for your hair and nails, pay for the babysitter, send me an Uber, give me a purse, give me flowers. Y'all are already asking for an upfront investment. Y'all are already asking for earnest money to lock down the asset. Y'all are already asking for that. Sloppy. Absolutely sloppy.
And that's the thing about these men on social media is like they really are not aware that majority of men are unattractive.
Uh-huh. And why does that matter?
That's why your opinion does not matter. Unattractive people cannot tell me anything.
What? Was that supposed to make any sense? Just because a person happens to be attractive doesn't make them a more reliable source than an unattractive person. Good grief.
I'm sorry, like, I don't find you attractive. You're balding. Balding people definitely can't tell me anything. Like, if you're balding, your opinion does, I don't care about your opinion.
Balding. Okay. Well, what about those individuals who happen to be overweight? Do their opinions matter, or is that subject to taboo?
There's lots of things that would make me not care about one's opinion.
Oh, such as?
Especially if you're a man, I really don't care about your opinion. Because most of you all are not attractive at all.
So they're only going to listen to a man if he's attractive enough. I guess that would be one of those situations of pretty privilege. In some people's eyes, unless you're attractive, your opinion simply doesn't matter. You have to be pretty. Or it could be more to the fact that most guys don't receive a lot of praise, compliments, or even overly nice treatment from women in the first place. So naturally, they would be thinking that the woman would probably want something.
My standards are high because my boy best friend drove 5 hours yesterday from the coast of Chile just to come snowboarding with me for one single day.
Oh no, that poor guy. Well, if he wasn't already aware that he's so permanently stuck in the friend zone that he can never get out, I'm fairly certain that lady's words just solidified it for him.
You know, ICE agents have children too.
Oh dear. This certainly isn't starting out very well.
Most of them have children too. And it's not as hard as you think to figure out who they are, where they go to school, their names. It's not hard at all.
And for those that were wondering, that was a classic example of how not to be a
a good person, or, I might add, demonstrate any form of stability. Because good people, and I might add rational people that have a good grasp on reality, understand that you can disagree with another human being and not act out in irrational manners like attacking that person directly. Nor, might I add, would any reasonable person ever even try to insinuate attacking their children, because children are always off limits. If you can't conduct yourself as a decent human being and learn to agree to disagree with other individuals without having to resort to things like this, well then, that really says all that I need to know about you.
But if you can't afford a woman's lifestyle, then date within your budget.
Ladies, something that you need to hear, but most men with a shred of self-respect or dignity are absolutely not going to date women that think like this.
Don't call her high maintenance. Don't act like she's the problem. She likes what she likes. You just can't provide it. That's not on her. That's on you.
Indeed. And those men that I mentioned can absolutely tell the difference between a liability and an asset.
Okay, here's another hot take for you. Men are not attracted to confident women.
Well, for the most part, that's not true. But after watching this video, I think I understand what the problem here is.
The second you gain confidence, they see your confidence as arrogance. They see your confidence as a masculine trait because men are the only ones supposed to be confident, right?
The problem is that an individual might not realize they are acting arrogant. They may think they are simply being confident, and most individuals do not view arrogance as a desirable quality in a partner, whether it be a man or a woman, because it depends on how a person carries themselves. They might see themselves as confident, yet everyone else in the room might see them as arrogant.
Men see lack of confidence as humble and womanly, okay? I need you guys to understand.
On that, I'm going to have to disagree, because a person can absolutely be 100% confident, yet at the same time remain humble. As I said before, there's a difference between confidence and arrogance.
It's not all men, but it's a majority of men. The more confident you are telling other people you know your worth and you don't put up with bullshit, and men are very, very turned off by that.
I am going to go so far as to say that it's actually arrogance, not confidence, that actually turns men as well as women off. Because arrogance is not a desirable trait in almost any partner that any person would want. Because there is a difference, as I said, between confidence and arrogance. While a confident person does know their worth, an arrogant person likes to shove it in people's faces.
You know, women say this type of stuff. Once again, I don't think they listen to what they're saying. For all of the dudes out there raising young ladies, what are you teaching them to do? Have confidence. Oh, you're a big girl. You can do it. Oh, your daddy's little girl. No. You got it. Oh, you got it. Get on up. No, you're okay. You might say, oh, your daddy's little princess. Oh, yeah, right. But dads, fathers usually instill in not just their daughters right now, but their sons too. But we're just talking about women right now. They'll instill confidence, the ability to do that. When women say, well, I got it from my dad, you know, they saying I'm strong and independent and don't need no man. I got it from my daddy. I don't need no man because my dad taught me. Right now, you can go too far and be like, oh, all men are trash. I don't need them. But that's what the men are instilling in their children is confidence. You got this. You're not going to need any. As when I get done teaching you and training you and showing you how to do things, you're not going to need nobody. Now, you ain't got to be no jerk about it, but you're not going to need nobody. You can take care of yourself. That I want you to be self-sufficient, right? That's confidence. No, I know I can do it. Does that mean that you don't have some issues with self-esteem or trying to find your way and feel your way into the person that you are today? No, you always have that. But at some point in time, you know, you got to be like, okay, I can do it. Let's get it. What y'all are talking about and what you just outed yourself is arrogance. That braggadocious, prideful nature about yourself that you can talk to a man any kind of way. You can talk to anybody any kind of way. Honestly, it don't have nothing to do with men. You talk to anybody and everybody like that. And a man is saying, absolutely not. I'm not going to wipe that at all. And now you're saying, oh, well, they're not attracted to confidence. No, they're not attracted to your attitude and you want to fix it.
The more you reject a man, the more he wants you.
Ah, instructions on how to start a relationship by using unhealthy manipulation tactics. Gotta love the dating game.
Think back to high school, the mean, cold, emotionally unavailable bully who made you feel not very good about yourself, probably left some disrespectful comments, rejected you somehow and bullied you. Even though you didn't like how they treated you, you desperately craved their approval.
What a great reference. Using possible traumatic events from a person's childhood to dictate how they should go about pursuing a relationship. Sounds healthy.
Rejection triggers the core need for love and acceptance.
So for a person to want to be accepted, they have to first be rejected? Okay.
Even with your man, if you pretend like he doesn't even exist, and if you reject him a little bit and you pull back a little, his ego's gonna freak out. Because he wants to win you over again. He's gonna seek your approval.
I wonder, what type of relationship will this type of advice ultimately lead to? I find it hard to believe that this will actually ultimately lead to a healthy relationship, because the building blocks of mind games and mental manipulation really do not often lead to what is known as a healthy relationship, because healthy relationships are built on mutual trust, communication, and mutual respect. And without those things, what exactly type of relationship will a person have?
So these two girls go into Old Navy looking for their fleece that is pretty popular during the winter months. And they say, oh, everybody always gets a size 3X, I think.
And as some out there might expect, there are some that have a problem with the size of clothes that some decide to wear.
And arguably, you can see by the size of these girls, they probably wear like a small.
And the point would be...
I'm actually happy to see that people were calling this out in the comments. There were a lot of people being like, why would you need a size 3X? But let me go into why this is not okay.
There are a lot of people that do like to be in other people's business.
We're going to start with the statistics first. Statistically, 70% of US women are a size 16, 18, or over. So most of US women are plus size.
Is it just me, or does anybody else find it moderately, if not more than moderately, alarming that there are that many people in the United States that are overweight?
But then I see videos like this, where people who could get their size, or literally just size up to a large to get an oversized look, are specifically looking to take a 3X from someone who needs that size.
Oh wait, this is building up to something.
Why are our clothes okay to exist in order for a small person to get a super oversized look, but our clothes are not okay to exist to put clothing on our bodies?
Just my opinion. But a person should be able to buy whatever they want to buy without having to worry about hurting someone else's feelings.
And the answer is fat phobia.
Of course. Of course it is.
If you don't have a problem with that video, you should. And if you don't, you just hate fat people.
Ooh, an all or nothing argument, is it? But just remember, there is almost nothing that a person can't do these days without having to worry about hurting somebody's feelings or being called some kind of phobic.
If men didn't exist, the world would be perfect. It would be pretty calm and peaceful.
Calm and peaceful. Yeah, that's 2 words for how it could be, but I have a better 2 words for how it would most likely be. Chaos and pandemonium. For without men to complain about, most women would just most likely turn on each other.
Men ruin everything.
Do they? Well, without men, most of the world's infrastructures would actually fail to exist, because there's not a lot of women that are willing to actually put forth the work and physical labor that would be required to maintain everything that we've become accustomed to.
Like, just imagine a life without men. That would be a dream come true.
Yeah. Let's just take a moment and think about what a world would look like completely and only populated by women. Yeah, it really doesn't seem so much like a dream world. It actually more closely resembles something like a nightmare.
You cannot convince me that being a male-centered woman is not a form of imprisonment.
I have often found that trying to get someone to change their position on their opinion of which they're already convinced is nothing but an exercise in futility. After all, they would have to be open-minded enough to listen to opposing arguments on that particular subject.
Whenever I meet someone whose whole purpose seems to be being around men, being liked by men, securing a man, etc., I genuinely feel badly for them.
I have met very few individuals that would actually fit that description, but I'll tell you who I do feel sorry for. Those individuals that are so hyper-focused on their dislike of men that it becomes their entire personality.
It feels like meeting somebody who's in a cult, who's so deeply brainwashed. All you want to do is tell them how much better life is on the other side.
P.S. If a person has to use multiple hyperbolic statements in order to convince others of the validity of their argument, then they don't have much of an argument. And on today's episode of Seeking Attention, Validation, and Approval from Random Strangers on the Internet, we have an individual who's being not so subtly sexist towards male doctors, and could have just saved everyone a whole lot of time by doing a little research before going to the appointment and verified who their doctor was and what their gender happened to be. But I understand that that would have actually taken a little bit of forethought. But I really do hope they keep that same energy for women who perform vasectomies.
I mean, these modern women, man, forgive me. But this was brain dead. I'm sorry. Why even make a TikTok like that? I mean, I would assume that you would have looked up the doctor. You know what I mean? I would assume that you'd have, okay, they got great stars, they got great reviews. Okay, let me go ahead and see who this is, what they do, you'd be curious. From what women are telling me, but you're telling me you went through and you signed all of the paperwork, got up there just to sit in the office and find out that this wasn't the doctor for you. Y'all just sit up here and waste time. And for you to make a TikTok like this, you would have had to go into somebody's office, set up your phone for the intent of making a TikTok for attention and validation. Modern women, man, I just don't know. I don't know how you can trust them. I don't know how you can be around them. This is foolishness.
Men have no honor anymore.
Honor, huh? Interesting. I wonder how they're going to try to nitpick men today.
There are some men in this world who I do believe have held on to some part of their dignity.
When are we going to get to the point about honor?
But for the most part, men out here would rather sit at home on their ass playing video games than actually doing anything important with themselves or their life.
Let's be very clear. A lot of gentlemen work very hard most of the time during the week, and a lot of gentlemen enjoyed playing video games as a way to unwind, and there's nothing wrong with that. What's the problem?
They don't stand on their word, they don't stand on business, and they fold like a lawn chair when any amount of pressure requires them to grow the fuck up.
They never did mention anything having to do with honor, did they? But, after all, if nothing else, this has been a wonderful example of what not to do. To take a person's personal experience and use it to then generalize an entire population of people.
We're going through an epidemic in the United States where men are either jealous of pretty women or want to be treated like women.
Really? Sometimes I think that some are just making things up at this point just to have something to talk about.
And it's almost like men want to be in the woman's position. Want to be the ones that are being asked on dates and being courted. And the woman should be the one that sets up the dates and pays for everything.
And what's wrong with that? Equality, after all. Oh, wait. Some women don't want to be treated as equals to men, or in this case, as men as equals to women. There's some women out there that just want to be treated better than men, and it shows.
When you share your personal experiences with certain guys, they are jealous that because you are a beautiful, intelligent woman, you have access to certain experiences. You live in Miami, getting invited to nice dinners, getting invited to go to beach clubs, getting invited to go on yachts.
What's that called? Oh yeah, female privilege.
Things are free for beautiful women that men have to pay for.
And yet some women are blaming men for wanting free stuff when they take it for granted? Okay.
Honestly, I think they're jealous, and I think that they want the roles to be reversed. And I'm not saying it's all men, but I am saying it's definitely some men. If you want to be a girl so bad, that's fine, but go and find your husband and stop dating other girls.
I'm sorry, but why is homophobia still so readily accepted as long as it's only used to insult straight men?
I'm curious, what do you think? Do you think men starting to really want the treatment that women should be receiving? I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
I don't think women should be receiving special treatment at all, but I don't think a lot of women would be ready to be treated as equals to men.
If he can afford his hobbies, his car, and the outings with his friends, he can afford you too.
I find takes like this to be rather concerning because it seems like a lot of individuals are now more than ever focused on what they can get out of a relationship in terms of benefits, as opposed to actually being focused on the relationship itself. It seems like a lot of them have, as they say, lost the plot.
When a man says that he can't spoil you, it just means that he doesn't want to.
Indeed. But a person shouldn't have to be spoiled to be happy in a relationship. And that's what I mean by a lot of individuals seem to have certainly lost the plot. Because I highly doubt that a lot of those individuals that give advice such as this really even know what it's like to be in a happy, healthy, and rewarding relationship. And sadly, those that listen to the advice that these sorts of individuals give are going to wind up in the same place, not knowing what it's like to actually have a rewarding relationship. Because, as they say, no one likes to keep other women single like single women.
To say what all of us ladies are thinking.
Please don't. That just usually ends up being embarrassing.
Men, you need to step the fuck up. We're living in an era where we don't need you anymore. Women are tired of your shit. You're not showing up and you're not providing. We're gonna go do it on our own.
Does that mean that more women are going to start acting like functioning adults that can actually provide for themselves instead of relying on a man to do it for them? Oh, how awful.
So if you've come into our life and you're not adding any value in any way, especially in the traditional sense, because you are supposed to be the providers and take care of women, we're going to kick your ass to the curb.
I honestly don't believe that a lot of individuals, specifically a lot of women, actually understand what relationships are supposed to be about. It's not about who takes care of the other. It's about the relationship itself and two people caring about each other and being there for each other. No wonder there's so many single people out there.
We don't need you. A lot of women have given up on the idea that men are going to be there to provide for them.
Newsflash. You're a grown adult. Provide for yourself. Don't expect others to do it for you.
We don't give a fuck if you're actually in our lives or not.
That's rather hard to believe considering the online tirades that I keep seeing.
You better be adding significant value if you want to earn a place in our lives.
Indeed. And I can only imagine how upset a lot of women out there would be if gentlemen actually started adopting the same philosophy and insisted that women bring something to the relationship other than just what they look like.